Welcome everybody to our urban parking system repository that's been designed and built in Enterprise Architect. My name's Scott Hebbard and I'm joined by Stephen Maguire, and today we're looking at the intermediate interaction flow modeling language, and we're going to have a look at some more intermediate topics. So welcome Stephen, great to have you here today. And the IFML, or interaction flow modeling language, I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about it.
Thanks for the introduction, Scott. Always a pleasure to be here. Yes, the IFML, interaction flow modeling language. Let's make a start. As always, I like to set my perspective up in the top right-hand corner of the application. I have a drop-down which lists the perspective sets, and I'm going to look at UX design and interaction flow IFML models. I'll select that. The tool does the work, focusing in on the builder page and a range of patterns here that we can see. So these patterns can be injected directly into your model, giving you a great head start. So I encourage you to do that. There are thousands of patterns in the tool, so I encourage you to look at those. I like to do things from first principles, so I'm going to close that builder page and let's get started. We did have a model in our introductory video for the interaction flow modeling language, and let's have a quick look at that diagram. So it, as we explained, it was a kind of a mixture between BPMN and UX design models, wireframes. So we've got, both the screens being modeled, but also the flow between those screens. You can see here between the home screen and the duration selector, there's a park button selected there. What I'm going to do, Scott, is I want to start looking at how this model is connected to other models. So there's a lot of information in this model, and I would like to connect it to an information model. So let's have a quick look at our information models, and we have a conceptual model there. Look at that, which doesn't have any data elements in it. It's just conceptual. We've got a logical data model, and we've also got a physical data model there as well. So what I want to do is I want to relate it to the logical data model. So I'll only close these other two models, and I can just do that simply there. I'll return to my interaction flow modeling language diagram there, and I'm going to create another diagram. So always a painless thing to do, simply select the location in the project browser, the package that you want this to be under, or the element for that matter. And I'm going to use the browser toolbar here to create a new diagram. I've got new package there. I actually want a diagram, so I'll redo that, and I'm going to call it, we've got a different name, so it's going to be the connection to the logical model. I want an IFML diagram, so I'll go create diagram there. And again, I'm going to do some magic, Scott, and I encourage people to do this. I see people modeling and they don't use this facility. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pan and zoom window there, and I'm going to pan out a little bit, and I want to select these all of the elements and all of the view containers for these first three elements. So I just lassoed them there with my mouse. I'm going to hit the Control C key on my keyboard. I'm going to go to my new diagram there, and I'm simply going to say Control V for my keyboard, and Enterprise Architect does that work for me. So there's the diagram in there. I'm going to move this connector over to the other side. Quite simple to do there. You can see how quick that was to do. And again, multi-select the whole diagram. I'm just using Control A on my keyboard, and let's move this all over a little bit. So now I want to connect this up, or find relationships between the view components and these screens, or these containers, and connect it to our logical data model. So let's go and do a bit of cherry picking from our logical data model. So one of the things I want is the parking meter. I'll get that parking meter, and I also want a session, just like a reservation, and I'm multi-selecting those, and I want the payment as well. So let's see if I can find the payment. There's the payment there. So the three of them are selected, that diagram, and I'm going to, again, Control C for my keyboard, and I'm going to paste them into this diagram. And there they are there. One of them's positioned. They take off at the right. Yeah, they take their position from the previous diagram. So I'll link that up. You can see that the work's being done there by these visual indicators for alignment. We've got that there. So let's line these up. Why did I choose these particular elements? Because I know that there's some relationship here between the parking meter. You can see it's got a prefix of its its namespace of logical data model. We know that's where it's coming from, so that's kind of useful. What I might do is just make these a little bit bigger. I multi-selected the whole lot of them. I'm using my arrow key and my control key. So control key down, right arrow to make them a little bit bigger, and that makes the name fit directly into that that top compartment. Let's now line this one up here, and let's see if we can find some sort of relationship between the elements in here. So it said meter status display. So we look into our logical data model, we see the status. We're going to use a trace relationship, Scott. We're going to trace from this element to this one, and we'll do it directly into the view component, right? And we're going to use trace. Now, a trace relationship is a relationship between something that's at a lower level to something that is at a higher level. So, something from an implementation up to a requirement, something from a requirement up to a strategy, and in our case, something from a logical data model, which is a more resolved element, back up to our UX design. I'm going to use this feature here to right mouse click on the end of this line. So with the relationship selected, I move the cursor towards the point where it contacts that element, right mouse click and say link to element feature. And there are a number of different features, attributes, operation, changes, other things, and I want the attributes there. So I want to link to status in the status display. So there's that connection there. I'm going to just add a few little connectors in, or bends in the line, waypoints in the line. I simply control click on that line, hold the control key down and click.
Well, it's interesting that you've not only been able to link to the component within the home screen, but also to the status attribute within the logical entity as well.
Yeah, and look, Scott, this is a feature of the tool that I think is incredibly expressive. It's incredibly valuable because you can get right down to that to that level of detail. So, and we also have a matrix which can display the relationship between features and other features. So we can map from the features in one database table to another one, for example, and show that on a matrix. But that's not the topic for this this particular video. So we'll park that and pick that up at a later point. But an interesting topic. Let's put this one here and let's move this up a little bit. And what have we got in here? Duration selected, date, time from to. So interesting, we've got a start time and an end time there. Let's do the same thing here, Scott, and we'll drag trace relationship over to this element and we'll call it trace. And let's do another one there because there's both a start and an end time there. And again, we'll put another trace in there. So again, let's do our magic, end of the line connector there, link to element feature, got attributes, and we're going to choose start time. And that one's done. And let's do the same thing for this one. And we'll do link to element feature, attributes. You're getting the idea now. You can see how all this works, right? And I can move this guy across a little bit, tidy that up a little bit. They do get a bit tight, but you can always put a bend in the line. And let's go to our payment one here. We've got the amount here. Again, we'll move this up a little bit to make a better alignment. Again, we'll use our trace relationship there, trace it through from the element using the quick linker to the amount, and we use trace again. And we've got a payment method there as well. So let's put that one in and make that link as well. And we'll put a trace element in there. And no guesses, no prizes for guessing what we're going to do now. Link to element feature, attribute, and we're going to choose the amount, payment amount there. And this one here is going to be the same thing again. We're going to link to element feature, attribute, and we're going to choose the payment method. So again, we can bend this line a little bit if we want and do that. Keeps it all a bit neater with these labels and have aligned them up. So got that. We probably need some notes on this diagram as well. So let's put some notes on. Remember, I'm quite fastidious about putting notes in, and that's because I go and evaluate lots of people's models. I do reviews for organisations, and it can be very frustrating and very time consuming to go into a model and find that there isn't any information about what the model's about. The packages don't have things. So I encourage that. I see it quite a lot in my practice, and that's why I'm always talking about it. Let's put those notes in then now. We've got that in there. Let's do what we normally do. Collapse a few of these here, collapse those down, and let's put in a common element, which is our note. And again, we're going to link this to our diagram notes. Right mouse click, advanced, link to diagram notes. There it is there. And we can reshape this, style it a little bit as well. And let's go to our layout ribbon, put a color in there. And there we have the notes of the diagram. So Scott, I'm not going to do any more on this diagram. I'll leave it up to the audience to do some other work with this if they want to. I encourage you to do this in your own models. The linking of elements from different disciplines, from different parts of the model, is what gives it its great expression. So it's a little bit like I relate it to a machine that's been pulled apart, and all the parts are in a single box, and you can't see how they're related to each other. When the machine's put back together, all the parts are related, and so that's what we're doing. We're relating different parts of our machine, and we look at the model as a machine, and we can start to see their relationship there. So we've got some other things, the model number there, the type, meter status display. We could easily put link those things up as well. So that's it for this intermediate video on the interaction flow modeling language. Again, as I say, a very expressive language.
Thanks, Stephen. It's been great to learn a little bit more about IFML and how you can link it to other elements of the model. Enterprise Architect's always renowned for its great traceability and for its ability to comprehensively describe systems, and you've shown us another powerful way of doing that today. To our audience, we encourage you to subscribe to Sparx Systems YouTube channel and to have a look at hundreds of other videos on UML and Enterprise Architect and how to use Enterprise Architect. If you have any questions about UML or IFML and you'd like to reach out to Stephen, you can do so via his LinkedIn credentials and website details that are listed in the video description below. As always, thank you for your time today, Stephen. It's been great to learn a little bit more about IFML, and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Scott.